investment and employment scams, but we agreed that we'll continue the conversation today and focus mostly on investment scams. And it brings us to our business hard fact for the day. According to the NBS, Nigeria's inflation rate is currently 18.12%. And we've been seeing double digit inflation for years now. Simply put, your money doesn't buy as much today as it did yesterday. Meanwhile, most salaries have not been keeping up with inflation, and the value of the naira itself has been falling. So, for a lot of Nigerians, money is not going as far as it used to go. And this is making more and more people turn to investments to grow their money. Unfortunately, it's exposing more and more Nigerians to investment scams. So we'll look at how the scams work. We'll look at what signs to look out for. We'll look at how to verify whether an investment or employment scheme is a potential scam. And all our guests from last week are joining us again. So we've got Justin Irabo, who's a software engineer. We've got an investment analyst from Chapel Hill Investment. And we've also got co-founder of Awaba, a micro pensions scheme, Tunji Andrews. Hopefully he joins us over Skype. We've been trying to call him, but it's not connecting. But we do have Abimbola Omotola and Justin Irabo right here on the phone with us. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Good afternoon, Sandra, and thanks for having us back.
I don't know if Justin can hear me, though.
Hello, Sandra.
Oh,
I can hear you.
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, great.
I was just waiting my turn. How you doing?
I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, pretty great.
Lagos, I want to hear from you as well. Do you have questions about an investment you're trying to make at the moment? Have you been caught by an investment scam? What do you want to know about making wiser investment decisions? Now, I've asked this question last week, but I have to ask again, Abimbola. What's the difference between a scam investment and a bad investment?
Thanks once again, Sandra. So we are trying to differentiate between a bad investment and a scam investment.
Right.
So a bad investment typically occurs when you make an investment either into a financial product or a scheme, and your assumed returns do not materialize. That is, let's say you are planning to make, for instance, so what happened in the crypto market, this morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's a typical example of a bad investment. So your plan was to make money by buying crypto, but unfortunately, we saw a massive pullback in the crypto market. So same thing could apply to when you buy equity securities, for instance, on the stock exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So your plan was to make a positive return, but it might not turn out to be so. So that would be a bad investment. Essentially, when your assumed returns or your predicted returns or your planned returns do not materialize. So that happens to every investor, no matter how experienced you have. Even if you speak to Warren Buffett, the so-called Oracle of Omaha, the famed investor, he has made a couple of bad investments in his lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a scam investment, that is if there has been a misrepresentation or a breach of trust in the process of trying to get money from you, in the process of you trying to commit to an investment.
Mm-hmm.
So a typical example, I would say, is a Ponzi scheme. So that's a scam investment, right? Mm-hmm. Or let's say somebody promises you to help you invest in the FX market or in the crypto market, but the person ends up defrauding you by not actually putting that money into where he or she has committed to do so. So essentially, a scam investment, of course, when there has been a misrepresentation, in order to elicit or solicit funds from you. So there's a difference between the two.
Now let's stay on the point on this point about the difference between bad investments and scamming investments. People see a stock market crash or they see an asset class crashing, maybe because there was a bubble and it burst, and they see that and they say, hey, it's just like Ponzi now. Huh? And it seems to me that this is part of what makes a lot of people feel like there's no difference. So, could you please explain why volatility in the stock market or with asset classes doesn't mean that these are scams like a Ponzi scheme?
Okay. So the difference between the two is simply about what we describe as fundamentals, and I will explain that. So when you buy into a stock, for instance, you are buying based on expectations of future cash flow in that investment. That is when you buy into a company, for instance, that company exists, as we can assume, and that company is a going concern. It is running a business on a day-to-day basis. It's selling a product. It exists. It files return on the stock exchange. So, in the real sense of things, that company has a tangible fundamental backing it. It is creating value. I think that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
What you are investing in is creating value. It is value additive. So if the company you bought, for instance, is in existence, is creating value on a day-to-day basis, then it is not a scam investment per se if you invested and you lost money, right? But if you invest in something that is not creating value, right? So let's say you invest in the Ponzi scheme. There is no value creation in the Ponzi scheme.
Right.
The person who is collecting money from you to run a Ponzi scheme, essentially, the only business he's in is to take money from you to pay someone else back. He's not creating any value. Now, that is a scam investment. So the big question you have to ask yourself is, what I'm investing in, be it a stock, be it a real estate asset, be it... So I don't want to delve into the area of crypto because it's quite controversial. So some people believe, there is real value creation process in the crypto market. That some of the crypto coins, the tokens, they are creating value one form or the other, either through being a payment processor or software development, etc. But some do not believe. So I'm not going to go into that. But when you're talking about the traditional investment and the alternatives,
right?
If they are creating value, then you can say this is and you lost money in the process, for instance.
Right.
Yeah, if you bought Amazon has lost money today. But Amazon creates value, it's servicing businesses. So that's why it's scam investment. But if you invest in a Ponzi scheme, there is no value creation. The only thing involved in Ponzi scheme is to take the